It's amazing how companies are actually using VR. So what many initially perceived as a fun gaming platform is actually a very serious tool for companies. We're seeing companies use it in terms of education and training. For example, here we've got on our booth companies teaching people how to spray paint on cars in a car repair shop. That sounds like something that's very simple. It's actually quite a complex skill, and you can exactly replicate how it is in virtual reality. So you can do it a full experience and get to a very high qualification standard without ever picking up an actual spray gun. You can just do it with a virtual one. Other companies, maybe to give some examples of what people are actually doing in the virtual world, IKEA, for example, have actually launched a kitchen configurator that's going to be in some of their stores. And that kitchen configurator is actually going to allow people to decide how their layout will be in the kitchen, what colours things will be. I like these cupboards in blue, that kind of thing. So the customer is far more engaged in the whole process. There's going to be far less remorse after they've purchased something because it's something that they already knew how it would look in their home. They've been able to configure it. Let me give another example of how a company is able to configure things. Audi are actually having a car configurator. The idea being you can walk into a showroom and see some of the normal cars, an A3, an A4, but also a blank space where you can actually configure your own car, decide you like it in red, and maybe actually it is worth paying extra for those wheels that you just saw in a catalogue and thought maybe about. But now that you're seeing them in VR, you can actually understand what it really means. Maybe while we're talking about car companies, another example of how companies are using VR to connect. So Jaguar, with the launch of their electric car, the I-Pace, at the end of last year, held a VR event. But they held it in two cities, in LA and London, at the same time, with journalists in both, all sat there in virtual reality headsets. And they had the big unveil of seeing the car in virtual reality, where the designers were able to stand in virtual reality and talk to them personally. This is what we thought of here when we were designing it. This was what we thought of here. So really getting their story across. And everyone was connected and was able to do it at the same time. So there's a lot of ways how companies are able to use VR. I probably can't talk about certain things that are in development privately, but let me give you a very basic tourism example. Within VR at the moment, we have Google Earth VR. So we all know Google Earth on a computer. That also exists as a VR experience. When we went to CES in Las Vegas earlier this year, I hadn't been to the hotel we were staying at. So I actually went downstairs in our office in the UK, put on my VR headset, went to Vegas, and I was actually able to stand in front of my hotel, see what it was like, stand on the street, look down in both directions, and understand what it was really like to be there. That meant when I got to Vegas, actually, nothing felt strange. It felt like I'd already been there, which is quite amazing. So if you take that, for example, as a tourism company, how can people understand what they're buying into? How can they actually get excited about something before even traveling there? That's really great, because then you've got a chance to get your story across.